form of concentration then?
It can be, but it's not concentration. No.
Okay.
No. It's training your mind not to be attached to what comes in and out of your mind.
Okay.
Let it come. Let it go.
No.
Let it come. Let it go. And as opposed to
Training and eating. Tell me more. What do you train in?
training for life.
The only training you need.
And I say training for physical life, mental life, emotional life, spiritual life.
Keeping yourself together.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
String by
It's
string.
just got to be done. It's got to be done.
If you don't do it, I suppose you don't have a purpose, do you? You've got to work towards something at some point.
Yeah, you know, it's just one of those things where, and I think life is a gift. And if you think like I do, where life is a gift, how do you take care of a gift that you treasure? You look after it.
You look after it.
You know, if you give somebody a nice fancy Ferrari, what are they going to do? Put the best wheels and the best paint and the best polish.
Never drive it anywhere.
Yeah.
Everything.
They'll keep it.
But they keep that Ferrari nice. But what do they do to themselves? What kind of fuel do they put in their mouth? And, you know what I mean? So this is how I kind of go about things, really.
Okay. And that's really good. So going to the topics I wanted to talk to you about. So how do you keep yourself motivated so well? I feel like for young fathers, at least for fathers anyway in general, especially when you start having children anyway, you tend to see fathers starting to let themselves go a little bit more. Not just fathers, I think just people in general. When you settle down or when you get into a serious relationship, you kind of like
deflate.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that motivation and that drive to kind of like push yourself kind of go away.
I think motivation is overrated.
Okay.
And I think motivation is overrated because you need to have a certain amount of motivation to kind of get things going. But we're creatures of habit. We want to create a habit.
Yes, that's
Motivation can take you so far,
Mm-hmm.
but after a while, like you say, you drop off the wagon, as they say. But when it becomes a habit, do you wake up in the morning and kind of think, should I brush my teeth this morning or shouldn't I? You just brush your
You
teeth.
just do it, yeah.
Should I wash my face or should you wash your face?
Yeah.
But most people go, should I go to the gym? Yeah, I'm not in the mood. You have to just finish the work.
But why is that?
When it becomes a habit,
Yeah.
and so first of all, you want it to become a habit. But in order for it to become a habit, you have to go through the process of not overthinking it, just doing it. And a part of just doing it is when the mind says, I don't want to, do the opposite what the mind is saying, do it.
Okay.
And the more you do it, 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 the more you're building a relationship between me, myself, and I. What we say, I don't want to do it, but your body is saying, I want you to do it.
I need it.
I
You
need
to do
this
it,
thing.
Yeah.
So you kind of get out of the mindset of, I don't want to do it,
True.
and start to get into a mindset saying, you know something, I may not want to do it, I may feel tired, but my body is going to appreciate it. And if my body appreciates it, it's going to give me feedback, good health and other things, to say, keep going. So it's not so much about motivation. In the beginning, that's fine. But over the long haul, it has to become a habit. It has to become a lifestyle. And if it's not a habit, if it's not a lifestyle, you cannot maintain it. And I've been doing it regularly all the time for 37 years.
Do you think it's a discipline thing as well that comes into it? Do you think you have to have a certain level of discipline? You've got to learn when to say no to these, outside factors that tempt you into, say, eating a certain way. Because as we were discussing off camera, there's a lot of consumerism in the world, a lot of temptation, and a lot of the temptations that we have are negative, I find. Look at all the sugar in all the products of the food. Look at all the preservatives. There's not many things now.
No, but in the same time, that shouldn't stop you from exercising, right?
No, but you could argue the stuff that you put in your mouth can change.
It's 75% of the process.
Yeah.
The physical exercise is about 25%, give or take, about 25% of it. And I say, but this is the thing.
But for me, I feel like that 20% that you just mentioned there seems to be the thing that people struggle with the most. Certain people can even change their diet a little bit, but to get them to actually start training on a regular basis and actually be consistent, it becomes an issue where they will do it for a few weeks, they don't see the results straight away, they will stop.
People
and they will see certain people, so they'll see somebody like you and think that, this guy must have been exercising for 2 years. or maybe for a year. But no, you've been exercising for over 30 years. It's not something
Regularly.
that just comes to you just
week
like
in,
that.
Week out, regularly.
Exactly.
Because
So
it's a habit.
yes.
It goes back to start off with the mentality to say, we are creatures of habit. I want to cultivate a new habit. Don't think motivation, don't think, I need to be inspired. I want to cultivate a new habit. And any habit that we want to cultivate in the beginning is difficult. Any habit, regardless of what that habit is. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Because not everybody brushes their teeth every day.
No.
Not everybody showers every day.
No.
People who do why wouldn't they do that? Because they didn't create that habit. However they were raised, that wasn't a part of their upbringing.
No.
Yeah?
No, definitely.
So it's not as if, we all do it. We chose, directly or indirectly, to cultivate those kind of habits. Mm-hmm. So we have to start to say to ourselves, if exercise is this important, if eating right is this important, don't overthink it. I don't have some kind of secret that nobody else has. All the information is available to everybody. The information is all out there. You just got to put these pieces together and just get it done. Don't overthink, should I eat this? Should I eat that? What do I eat? Just start getting rid of sugar and processed stuff. Pot noodles, get rid of things like that. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And exercising. Just start that. And from that, let's tweak it a little bit. A bit of shoulders, a bit of this. Oh, let's try some chicken breast. Let's try a bit of rice. Let's try a bit of this. And then over time, but to try and get to where I am straight away, that takes time.
So what would you say to a person, doesn't matter if they're a parent or not, but what would you say to a person that gone to that side and let themselves go to the situation where they're not happy where they are and they want to do something about it? What would you get them to focus on to make sure that they can actually get to where they want to be in some way or achieve those targets?
I would say, first and foremost, when you come out of the shower, hopefully you've got a mirror in your bathroom. Stand there naked and look at yourself.
I've heard that before.
And look from top of your head to the bottom of your feet, and then look yourself in the eye and have a conversation with yourself. And say to yourself, do I like this? Most people don't like it. No. But instead of starting to cultivate certain habits to change that, it becomes a process of depression. Because they think about the negative and think, I don't like this, and 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 I don't like that. If you focus on what you don't like, you're feeding the negative. You have to create a habit to say, okay, I don't like that, I don't like that. Okay, what do I like? I don't like anything. Then let's start to move towards liking something.
Do something about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to have a starting, a middle, and an end.
No,
and the starting is looking at yourself and say, where I'm at right now, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. And if I, as an individual, don't walk that path to make certain changes won't happen. So
would you say it's similar to like people that are alcohol, that drink too much alcohol and alcoholics, people that are too much into drugs? Is there a concept of actually having to accept that, there's certain parts of, it's hard to say in some way.
I think when it comes to like substances and things like that.
No, I mean like to compare the two in terms of exercise, for that person that's let themselves go and they want to be able to get back to a kind of a disciplined kind of routine.
So some people
have to admit that, okay, this is what I've been doing to myself is wrong. I need to be able to sort it.
Yeah,
in some way.
You have to have a mentality like that.
Having to like write it down even sometimes.
And I say, but when it comes to drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, sometimes that's beyond what the individual themselves can do by themselves. Okay. Especially if you're an individual that have addictive traits about you. Sometimes you need external intervention to work with that. Yeah. But when it comes to eating well and exercising, this is something you don't need no external intervention. You just get on Google, get on YouTube, get on whatever. The information, how you eat, when to eat, what not to eat. There's millions and millions and millions. It's not like it was back in the 80s when in the gym world, the bodybuilding world, that kind of world, it was certain people were in great shape. And people think, how do they get in that shape? And they'll kind of give you a little bit, but they wouldn't give you everything. because it was like, if I give you everything, you might come and look better than me. So they kind of keep that.
Yeah.
Them days are long gone.
No, definitely.
Everything you need to know is
Definitely.
right in your palm. Everything you need to know. It doesn't mean what you see on YouTube or whatever is going to work directly for you. But what I suggest in life is don't follow one road. Because to me, there isn't no one right road. You can take a little bit from there, you can take a little bit from there, you can take a little bit from there, and create your world, what you're looking for, your personality.
True.
What do you want in your life? What's going to make you happy in your life? The steps that I take to make me happy, if you walk them steps, Jevon, it works for you, but it doesn't quite work for me. So you've got to tweak that to kind of, Jevon does this, but maybe I can tweak it this way, and maybe I can, to work for you. This is a part of that, the habit that we have to kind of.
No.
So it's a mental process, it's a mental game. It's being able to control the mind, but nobody tells you about.
And you think that's something that we need to that people have to try to instill in children from a younger age?
Yeah.
Like, for example, will you instill that same mindset from a younger age already?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's something that you have to learn yourself?
And like say, the foundation for my mindset was set by my mother.
Okay.
You know, and then from that, I was the kind of person where at a young age, a lot of my friends were 10, 15, 20 years older than me.
Okay.
And it's funny because I've got a friend right now, I'm 56 and he's 26. And we often joke because people go, you know, what is going on with you two? You know, there's like a 30-year gap. And for him, it's, wow, look at this guy that's 56 years old.
True.
And for me, I see myself in him.
Okay.
Because when I was 26, when I first started getting into this health kind of thing, the people that was motivating me was 45.
Yeah.
Late 40s.
Yeah.
They're who I was hanging out with.
Okay.
45-year-olds, 40-year-olds. When I was 20, 21, 25, that's who my inspirations were.
Okay.
And now I look in him and I see that because he may or may not know how to express what he likes about me, but I know what he likes about me because I was in his shoes when I was looking up to them guys saying, wow, look at him, he's 45, and wow. I was like this, and I was 22, 23.
Sure.
And now he's 26
Yeah.
and hanging around with a 56-year-old.
No, bro.
And it's like,
If I can look like you when I'm 56,
because he's inspired.
Inshallah.
You know what I'm saying?
Alhamdulillah, thank you.
And that's, it's about being inspired, and he's inspired to say, wow, whatever he's been doing, I can take a little bit of that. Not all of that. Don't take all of me. Take a little bit of that. And then, I met this Bobby, and Bobby was saying some things. I can take a little bit of this. Oh, I met this Jess, and why she was so funny and so. I can take a little bit of this. And then you create.
Of course.
Create yourself out of little pieces of your
out of little pieces of experiences in life.
No, definitely.
And as opposed to, you know, mom and dad says it this way, so it's got to be mom and dad's way. That may have worked for mom and dad. But you can take bits from mom and dad, and bits from your neighbour, and bits from your cousin, and bits from yourself, and bits from here, and bits from there. And
Okay, so can I ask, do you feel like people worry too much about sort of life itself and what the future brings and what's to come?
yeah, very much so.
Because there's a lot of anxiety about life, isn't there?
And like I say, but all of that anxiety and all of that is, I think, is a part of the creation to kind of keep that
Loop going.
wheel, that loop, and get them rats running round and round and round and round. Because if you get mass people, and you're seeing it now, which is why at my age, I love being around young people. You don't get too many people my age like hanging around young people, is because young people are saying things now that I won't tolerate that, where in the 70s and 80s, be quiet.
Yeah, you wouldn't say anything.
And like I said, I was having a conversation with my daughter, and we were talking about mental health. And it's not that mental health is such a big issue now that it wasn't an issue 40, 50, 60 years ago. It's always been an issue.
Yeah.
Because it's part of the human consciousness.
Yeah.
It's always been an issue.
Yeah.
But now, young people says, you're going to hear my voice.
Whether you
Okay.
like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, you're going to hear my voice.
Okay.
There's something going on inside of me.
So were you saying that the older generation wasn't allowed to express themselves as freely compared to
No.
now?
No. And they weren't.
Okay.
Times are changing.
So they still have those same issues. They still wanted to.
Those issues was there. You know, it's like somebody feeling something that's not right in life, and they go to work and there's things going on inside, and it's like, how do I explain this? They can't, and they go to a doctor and explain to a doctor, and the doctor like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's something wrong with your son. Get him in a mental asylum. That's what they'll do, send him to a mental asylum, because they couldn't explain it. But now through technology and understanding and research and communication, all these kind of placebos, trials and stuff, they're starting to understand that they come up with ADHD and this version and that version. Back then, they had no labels, because it was like, yeah, your son's a bit weird, madam. You know, you may want to keep an eye on him. What do you mean weird? They didn't know how to deal with it. But now there's been diagnosed with a name for this condition or that condition or that condition. And once you're diagnosed with a name of that condition, oh, this is the issue. Now what can I do about this issue?
Okay.
You finally addressed it.
It's been addressed. So the younger generation are the ones that's making that happen. We, people of my age and older, no, you didn't talk about these things.
Okay.
You just didn't talk about these things because it's like, well, we don't want everybody to know that you've got a son or a daughter. That's a bit weird. But it's not that you're weird. It's that things is going on in your body that you don't understand. The doctors don't understand. Your parents don't understand. So you're categorized as a weirdo. Now people say, no, I'm not a weirdo. There's something going on. I want you to run tests on me to figure out what this thing is so we can deal with this thing.
Okay.
The new generation is making this happen, where the older generation was just being silent.
And is that why you see probably like obviously like nowadays gym is becoming a lifestyle. Going to the gym is becoming a lifestyle compared to even when I was a lot younger. So compared to like I think before, the main people used to go and play go and play sports, go and play football, you go and play basketball. You choose a particular sport, then you do that.
Yeah.
Now it's almost like children are seeing that, okay, I don't have to choose a sport. I can just go to the gym and exercise, and that could just be my thing.
Which I do think is a good thing, because not everybody is good at sport in itself. That doesn't mean. Whereas exercise is a lot more inclusive. Yeah. Whereas, say for me, I can't dance. Oh my god, I can't even dance. So the fact that someone could go and say do ballet or break dance or whatever, which is probably incredible for your body, I wouldn't have a bloody clue. But if you put me in a swimming pool, I will race you up and down those lanes and I will beat you, and I know that for a fact. And I just feel like when you go to the gym, don't matter who you are or what you're capable of, you can do it.
That's that.
Because there's no niche to it. You'll figure out if that machine works for you, or the treadmill or the cross trainer or whatever. You'll find it and it'll work. So I think that's what's so good about it, is anyone can be a part of it.
And I think it's fantastic because, and I remember in the 80s and 90s, you'd go into a gym, men and women in there, but you'd have the women's section, cardio, the men's section, weights. Men didn't do too much cardio, and women, there were some who were into the fitness industry and stuff, but I'm talking about generally speaking. Yeah. Didn't go over there. So now when I see women lifting weights and doing all that kind of stuff, I think it's fantastic.
True.
Because it's something where it's not a male or women thing, it's your muscles need it, your body need it.
No, of course.
Your joints need it.
Of course.
Yeah? And people are starting to understand it's not, oh yeah, if I lift a little bit of weight, I'm going to get big muscles. You know how difficult it is to get big muscles?
No, it's a lifestyle.
It's extremely difficult. So it's not, I'm going to pick up a few weights, I'm going to, oh, my arms are going to get too big. No. But at one point, women used to think that. Yeah. So they, I'm not touching weights because I don't want to be big.
I don't want to be massive.
As if it's easy to become big. Everybody want to become big. Is it easy? No, it's not. It's extremely difficult. True. You know, and but the whole gym culture, I think it's fantastic.
Can I just interject when we're talking about big muscles? I think as well there's, as time's going on, people are more educated with exercise, muscle diets, etc. Yeah. But I do believe there are some people out there, from the conversations that I've had personally with many different walks of life, that some people think, okay, so for example, your muscle structure is completely different to Bobby's. He could eat the same diet as you, lift the same weights, do it as many reps, whatever, but he will not look like you because we're individuals. Yes. There's people out there that think, right, if I eat rice, broccoli and chicken, rice and broccoli every day and do this and that, I'm going to look like
Javon. when
Yeah.
you
No,
that will never
because
happen.
my body is completely
True,
different.
true.
My muscles, musculoskeletal structure is different. So you can try to look like someone else, but you're just not going to. You are yourself. And I think that's what's
100%.
important to remember, because if you don't, that's when it will become a bit of a problem.
Yeah, and I say, but sometimes in all of that analogy, people have to realize that your body will adapt and has no choice but to adapt to what you do. So if I eat rice, broccoli, this, and train this amount of sets and reps and stuff, and look a certain way, it goes back to the conversation I was saying before. You've got to take little bits from me and adapt it to you. I could eat meat and get results from that, but meat doesn't work with your body. Maybe you need to do vegetarian. I'm just talking here.
No,
Maybe you need to do vegetarian. Maybe I do dairy, and
Yes.
that works for me.
Sure.
So you can't look at what anybody does, copy what anybody does, and says it works for you.
Because it doesn't. It's a
But-
guideline.
I could take Jessie to the gym and say, for the next 6 months, you do exactly what I say. You eat exactly what I eat. And 6 months later, you wouldn't look like this.
Yeah.
You look lovely now, but you wouldn't look like this.
Look different,
Because
yeah.
what I would take your body through, your body has no choice but to adapt to what I do to it. Your body's not going to say, and I said, when you reach that level of intensity, and it goes, I can't do one more. I said, you're going to do one more, and you do one more. Your body is not going to say, well, you can do what you want, Jess, but I'm going to stay. It has no choice but to adapt.
But to adapt, yeah.
So it goes back to what you were saying. You may not look like me, but you will look different than you look now.
Yeah.
And you've got to be okay in whatever that outcome is. I've got to have calves like Jevon and this like this. No. You've got to allow your body to develop how it develops. But with the right training, with the right eating, with the right sleeping, with the and low stress levels, your body has no choice.
No, of course. And by the way, explain that thing. I think you explained this to me last time at the gym. The me, myself, and I, for the audience, for them to be able to. The way you explained it to me last time. Because I feel like the way you explained it to me last time, it made so much sense. I tried to explain it to somebody else at work, and I fumbled it so much. It was so bad. But I was like, no, please explain that to our viewers a little bit.
You know, it's just something that I kind of, a metaphor, if you will, a philosophy, if you will, how we say, I don't want this. I don't want to do that. And the ego talking says, I don't want to do that. But have you ever thought about what your body wants and create a relationship to say, I may not want that, but if I do that, my body will give me what I want. Good health, good flexibility, good muscles.
Good mind.
So it goes to that. So me, myself, and I. Whether this is true or not is irrelevant.
No.
It's a mental thing I'm dealing with here.
Of course.
Yeah?
Of course.
Me, myself, and I. This I says, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to eat broccoli. I don't like the taste of that. I don't want that. Try saying, I don't want that. But let's see if this me, this myself, how it's going to respond to that. And when you start to put the ego aside a little bit and do certain things towards the body, how you think, how you eat, all this stuff it's a mental game. The stress levels, the anxieties, the worries, all of these are things that's fed into us from external factors. They're not things that we create for ourselves.
No.
That seed was planted somewhere, whether it's by your parents, whether it's by your neighbors, whether it's by church, whether it's by whoever planted it.
Okay.
And over time, we have watered that. So we've got to be able to have that relationship. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to eat junk food and I'm going to do whatever I want to do and play video games and get out of shape and be healthy. Your body will say, okay, you that I don't want to do that, so I'm going to do something to you and to see how you like that. Heart attack, stress,
Exactly.
all these
Stiff
things.
muscles.
Exactly.
All of these things here.
Yes.
Next minute, you're on your knees, begging to say, okay.
I'll submit now.
Why wait for your body? Because either you're going to do something, or your body's going to do something.
Yeah.
But it would do it for you. It would
It will
definitely
do it for you. Either you, because I like to say, thank goodness, relatively in good health. Yeah, and I don't get sick very often because I'm consistent with what I do. So my body understands that. I trust you. You eat regular, you sleep regular, your stress levels are low, you train regular. So my body does what it needs to do. I eat the food does whatever it needs to do. It's fuel, and whatever needs to be passed away gets passed away because it understands in a couple hours he's going to feed me again.
Not true.
When the body gets tired, he's not going to overdo it. There's many people out there with different philosophies. I'm just talking about my philosophy. There's some people that say, train 7 days a week, 3 hours a day, every day. I don't train every day.
No.
Do a little bit of stretching every day. But you can't train the body intensely every day. The body says, that's too much.
And talking of tiredness as well, because we spoke about it last time, we talked about like the sleeping patterns.
Yeah.
There's a stat out there that talks about how the average amount of sleep people are having in the UK, on average, is about 5 point something hours.
Really bad.
5 point something hours.
Yeah.
So it's like people having 5 hours worth of sleep or 6 hours worth of sleep on average. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The required hours of sleep you're supposed to have is supposed to be between 7 to 8, right?
Yeah.
At least.
In that kind of range,
Yeah.
You know, but what are some of the factors that contribute to 5 hours sleep? You know, sweets, too much coffee,
Sugars.
all that, too much distractions, too much lights, and the video games and the movies and the TikToks and all of these things are distracting to the mind.
Is the brain getting overloaded by all of that?
Completely overloaded. So when it's time, people may sleep on average 5 hours, but I bet you they lay in their bed longer than 5 hours.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So they may lay in their bed for 8 hours and they toss and turn for 4 and sleep for 4.
Yeah.
Because they can't switch off.
No, definitely. And in the same stats, we're talking about the same thing as well, how people spend up to 2 hours in bed before actually falling asleep.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, yeah.
But not only 2 hours in bed before falling asleep, what are they doing in bed for 2 hours before falling asleep?
Oh yeah, 100% watching
TikTok.
TV.
They're on TikTok.
YouTube.
So with all these lights and all these ideas and all this, this person's got this opinion, that person's got that opinion, and all this controversy. And you're supposed to lay down and sleep calmly, peacefully? Just that's short.
And it
doesn't work.
And because of that, the GPs at the moment, you see there's a lot of need for prescribed medicine
Like
for
sleeping
people to
pills,
to help them to go to sleep.
medication.
Unbelievable.
So in the same
all
time, like
sorts.
people are having to be able to rely on medication for them just to be able to get a good night's sleep. And even after that as well, because obviously medication only works so far. So you're going to use it for the first few months. It's going to work, maybe, right? After the second month, after the third month, like you said earlier about your body gets used to it.
It adjusts.
And it will reject it next time. It will be like, no. I don't know, because of these stimulants that you keep on giving me constantly, I'm unable to be able to go to sleep. I'm unable to be able to shut off. So they end up not going to sleep instead of having to ask for more medication. Same like you said about depression. You go from like a small dose and it just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
It goes back to a rat and that circle. And what is that circle? These medications create billionaires, mate.
No,
Big pharma.
Of course.
Big pharma.
People have to understand it is your responsibility, Jess, to be the best Jess can be, to be the healthiest Jess can be. But people just live their life. And when something happened, the doctor, I'm not saying doctors don't care about you because they do care about you.
It's a company. It's
But
an
doctors
organisation.
a doctor has got a job to do.
Yeah.
And a part of his job to do, he's got to push certain things.
No, of course.
Well,
He cares about his wife and his kids and himself. That's his responsibility. Your health and well-being is yours, and yours is yours, and mine is mine.
True.
But people always look outside of themselves for answers when we have the answers. So it's the whole thing about how we're sleeping, how we're eating, the depression going up, all of these things is by design. I'm going to say by design.
Okay.
Because these things here keeps us dependent on certain things, on certain people.
Of course, obviously the pharmaceutical industry is one of the biggest industry in the world. Like they make billions of pounds and dollars.
So they want you
So
to be
they
eating all this
do-
stuff.
they
They want you
do
to be
want you
smoking.
to be
They
Well,
want you to be
Right,
smoking.
if you cut out, so if every human being on earth ate the right foods, and I'm talking eating healthily, doesn't even have to be complicated, does it?
Yeah.
Steak, eggs, chicken, vegetables,
Just like
fruit, water, bosh. You
Just
can
like that.
live a healthy, gorgeous lifestyle.
Yeah.
Just on those simple ingredients, and you can make multiple dishes with those things. Sleep 8 hours a day, avoid any sugars, artificial, etc. And I know it's real.
No, but it's hard as well, because if there's certain people can't afford to do that, because healthy foods are expensive. and Jay as well, to be able to shop like that every day, to eat a healthy meal every day, is hard for people that are
There's
working
gotta
a
be a
lot.
point, though,
people
where
that
you
are
stop spoon-feeding.
on a poverty
I
line.
just
gotta say,
People
just do
that
it.
are earning less.
You can go, whether people like this or not, I'm going to say, you can go into Aldi and you can buy a bag of rice, £2.50. Yeah? I like personally, and they have like these little, are they sardines? And they have a variety of them. They're mackerel and they're sardines and the things like this. And do that with some onions, a bit of spices, with a little bit of rice and some vegetables. Nobody's going to tell me that's expensive, because McDonald's costs more than that.
Yeah.
Because those little sardine things, about £2. Bag of rice, about £2.50. A little bit of spinach, a little bit of broccoli, couple pounds. So within £5-6, you can have a healthy meal.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2. You go to McDonald's for a Big Mac with big fries and big drink. How much is that? About £5-6, £7?
About 8 to 9 now.
So all of this is what I'm saying. It's by design. It wants people to believe eating healthy, doing these things. It's so much work. On your way to work, just pop into McDonald's.
Let's get a quick Greggs.
Exactly, get a quick Greggs. With all them 600 calories. It's no big deal. You'll be okay.
So what would you say about the Starbucks and the coffee shop? Because that's becoming like a new thing now. Like, instead of going to McDonald's, people are going to the coffee shops.
It still
People
is
are going
bad,
to
though.
Starbucks.
Look at the
People
amount
are
of
going
calories
to
in those
Costas.
coffees.
Exactly.
Them caramella, macchiato, that's 500, 600, 700 calories. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And it's just a drink. But because it tastes so good, you might go, oh wow, this feels nice.
It's rewarding.
True.
Gives you a reward, doesn't
I was a
it?
placebo then.
But there are ways of getting that same taste without 600 or 700 calories. But when people become lazy and they want that instant fix, that convenience, a lot of this stuff is designed around convenience. On the way to work, all of my working life, I've always taken a packed lunch to work.
Okay.
Because back when I was growing up, it was just the done thing, and I maintained that. Most people go to work canteen or whatever, bunch of rubbish. But they spend £6, £7, £8, £9, £10
It's expensive.
on lunch every day.
Workplace canteens.
We did that.
So
And
expensive.
look at canteen food. It's rubbish. Occasionally you might have something nice, but generally speaking, it's a bunch of rubbish.
Yeah, true. No,
And you're spending anywhere between £5 and £10 per day.
True, 100%. But yeah.
5 days a week.
5
now.
days a week.
My generation does that.
That's £50, £60.
Just go and spend money.
And can you imagine putting £50, £60 in some kind of stock thing every week? See what that would do. But people can, it's just so making lunch. It's so time consuming. You're setting you 6 hours of TV. Take 15, 20 minutes to prep your lunch. All of this is that habit of, okay.
You're going to take people away from their TV as well.
Watch your TV, but understand that
Your health comes first.
health and your well-being
Comes first.
is primary. And in order for that to happen, you've got to take the responsibility within yourself as individuals to do something about it. It's not your parents' responsibility. It's not the government's responsibility. It's not your doctor's responsibility. It is individual responsibilities.
No, of course.
I do think as well, and interject me if you think I'm wrong, but I feel like if you look after yourself in a healthy manner, I feel like almost financially you're better as well, because your mindset's better and you're not spending all this money on convenience, but you're investing in yourself. And when you've put all that effort in feeling good, you think, I don't want to spend that money on convenience because then I'm going to feel crap. And then what if it pulls me into a bad habit again? And I did an experiment, so I think it was like for 2 months, maybe 6 months ago, I ate just basic human ingredients and necessities that the body needs. And I combined it with exercise, and I'm not joking. I felt like Superwoman.
Yeah.
I woke
You
up
were
and I was
busy.
like, woo! I was
Yeah.
ready for the day. I
Yeah.
slept well.
Yeah.
I didn't feel sad once. I felt amazing. Nobody bothered me, and I didn't stay disciplined enough. I will admit, I didn't, But
True.
it's worth it, and it can be done by anyone.
Mm-hmm.
You've just got to stick to it. It's just a mind
100%.
thing.
100%.
Yeah, and a part of the sticking to it is don't start. The physicality is very important. But you have to start here. You have to start with how you view things. As of now, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether I like it or not, I'm going to.
No, I will
No.
do this.
I'm going to.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, it's snowing outside. I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
Because your mind is playing tricks on you.
Of course.
So when your mind plays tricks on you, okay, let's have a little game, your mind. And play a little game with your mind. You say no, I say yes. You say I don't want to go, I say I'm going to go. Play a little game. And as you play this little game, you start to create some habits. And
And by the way, the other thing I was going to say is because I feel like in terms of bad habits as well, because I feel like young children, especially, I think younger people that are not really developed well, will watch people online and will pick up these bad habits. You see some young kids there, for example, like taking steroids and certain supplements for themselves to make sure they can actually. Do you feel like? Wait, do you think supplements should be something that should be encouraged to be on people, or especially on young children?
No, not young children, really. Yeah, you know something.
Even though not young children,
and I
even
say-
like below 30s, I feel like you should still be able to eat your normal.
Because people are
Meals.
struggling so much with eating decent food, for whatever reason, most people are struggling with that.
Yeah, they are.
In this country, England, it's quite cold. So there's certain things that is beneficial to kind of add. Most people in this country, magnesium is very low.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much you eat, what you eat. You have to be clinical to get it right. So it kind of helps to boost.
Okay.
Vitamin D is very low.
Yeah.
And so there are certain key vitamins and minerals that you have to kind of see what is low and then kind of target those. But get most that you can through food. But it doesn't help just to have a little bit of a backup.
Okay. So what would you say, like, apart from the vitamins, would you say, at the moment, protein shake seems to be like...
I
the
don't
main thing.
agree with
a
them
lot, a
personally.
lot of people seems to be like, and they're making a lot of money. It's becoming a new industry as well.
No,
And it's becoming a booming industry where you're having these companies making millions.
And they've been a booming industry from the 70s and 80s.
Oh,
Yeah, and I like the Joe Weeders with the Arnold Schwarzeneggers and people. It's been because
Okay.
in my training, I've always had protein powder. I've always used protein powder because it was the done thing back then. Over the past couple of years or so, I haven't been because I've been focused more on make sure I'm getting that protein. And but it's one of those things where you don't want to become too dependent on it. That's the first thing. And the second thing is people sometimes use them as a meal, as in food. No, you want to eat.
Replacement.
You want to eat food.
Yeah.
You still want to eat.
You can have those as a top up, and I'll give you a prime example. About a week ago, and I was going into the sauna. I was planning on going to the sauna. Now, after a 90-minute training session, I have no energy left. And then I'll go into the sauna, and I feel really drained, I feel really weak. So I've got to have something to give my body a little something
Okay.
in order for me to do that. And otherwise, I feel a bit...
True. Okay.
Because I give it everything. Each session I give everything.
True.
So to go in the sauna for 15, 20 minutes, I ain't got no energy left. So I made a protein shake
Okay.
and I took it with me. After training, I drank the protein shake, lifted my energy. I was able to go into the sauna for 15, 20 minutes and feel good. Without that, I'd be a bit dizzy.
Okay.
I'd feel a bit
Okay.
faintish, like,
Okay.
because there's no energy left in me.
Okay.
But that's not a meal. That's just kind of in between until I finish sauna, shower, go home, then I'll eat food.
Okay. Okay.
But a lot of people struggle to eat, especially if you want to put a bit of weight on. They struggle to eat, so they use meal replacement, and they have meal replacement and weight gainers.
That's becoming a thing, especially online.
And they
You
use
see
those
that
things
quite
here
often.
to add weight. I wouldn't recommend using stuff like that because a lot of those stuff out in the market got a bunch of rubbish in it, really.
You've got to think it's artificial as well.
Yeah.
Everything you need,
Yeah.
you can literally get from the ground or from
Yeah.
from an animal.
You want to get
If
it
it's made in the
food.
lab, why bother? Why bother?
You wanna
No,
get
no,
it for food.
100%, 100%. There's been a few cases of children actually, people actually. I think they were like 18 or 19, but one of them actually going to the hospital because he was taking too much of these supplements.
Too much.
And it's becoming crazy. Obviously, people feel like the results can come to them straight away by taking this, by taking that. I'm gonna end up looking like you within the next
People want a quick
few
fix.
months.
That's
Exactly.
the problem. They
So
want a
in the
quick
same
fix.
time, they're going for the what they perceive to be the solution in some way. And you have people online as well giving them all these fake advice, making them feel like, okay, yeah, I'm selling you this. Please come and buy this bottle. Buy this is the latest thing you want right now, so you can look like me. I'm like, you're not gonna look like that guy. He's just trying to sell you something, really. To be honest. But yeah, that seems to be a major issue.
Yeah, and that's it. But you want to get your nutrition through food. But one of the things that a lot of people don't really do because it's got a bad reputation is salt.
Salt water.
So
Salt is extremely important. But
What do you mean?
But when you say salt, what do you mean?
you say salt is bad for you, gives you all of these.
Yeah.
They all say this, but guess what? Table salt is extremely bad.
You want the pink
Because
one.
table salt is refined salt.
Okay.
And with that refinement, things are added to that refinement.
Okay.
You don't want table salt. You want Himalayan salt. You want Celtic salt. And coarse, hard salt. Because those salts, let me see.
So you just have some salt in water and then you would just drink that, or
and
Some people do.
how I do it when I go to gym, you'll always see me with it looks like orange squash is what it looks like. But what it is, it's a vitamin C, dissolvable vitamin C
Like
capsule.
a Barocca.
Yeah.
Barocca, yeah.
And then a little bit of Celtic salt. Because what I've found is that from about 14, 15, 16, I went through a growth spur. So the height I'm like, what, 6'1", 6'1.5", something like that. I was that height like 14, 15. And I kind of shot up. And with that shooting up, I suffered from terrible cramps.
Okay.
Terrible cramps.
okay.
Cramp comes from a lack of sodium. And when you hear, salt is bad, salt is bad, salt is bad, they don't say, what kind of salt is bad?
Okay.
What kind of salt is good? Salt is extremely important and very good, but it's the type of salt that you use. And over the past few years, I went through a bit of an experiment. And whenever time I could feel a cramp coming on, particularly when I did hard legs, I could feel it coming, start sipping my drink. Or if the cramp really hits me,
Yeah.
I'll get my salt water and I'll drink it. And I kid you not, within a minute and a half, gone. And I suffered with cramp for most of my life. Until I figured this out, because everybody said, no, not salt, you don't want to use salt, it's this, that. Yeah, I'm sure there's a bit of magnesium deficiency, probably a bit and other things, but sodium, extremely important. But it's the type of sodium that you give your body. And it's funny because I was watching a podcast, a bit of a podcast recently, and this guy was saying that if something happens to you and they call an ambulance, when the ambulance come, one of the first things, if you're maybe not unconscious, but you know, if you're not like you are there, when the ambulance come, one of the first things that they do is give you a solution to drink or some kind of drip of some kind. This solution is salt water. And why do they automatically, they don't ask no questions, they give it to you. Why would a doctor do something like that? Because they know the vast majority of people are deficient in sodium and deficient in salt because of the propaganda that's been perpetrated for many, many years. Salt is bad.
Okay.
And that propaganda is true. Table salt is bad.
Okay.
Celtic salt isn't bad. Himalayan salt isn't bad. Raw sea salt isn't bad. The refined salt is bad. But whenever time you hear people talk about this stuff online or whatever, they never make that differential between have that one, not that one.
True.
In Celtic salt and Himalayan salt, and there's about 85 essential minerals that the body needs in that salt.
Okay.
But in table salt, there's no real value in table salt.
Just making the food taste nice.
Just make the food taste nice. Yeah, put more salt. If you're going to use salt, use salt. But use good salt. So I strictly use Celtic salt. And I use it on a regular basis, every day.
I did hear somebody on the podcast as well talking about same thing, same qualities or same properties that was actually in onions as well. It was like it gives
Particularly red onions.
Yeah, it gives you a certain. It actually works like a natural steroid in some way.
It's good for your testosterone.
Exactly. So instead of you having to go and get a supplement to try to get you pumped up and all that stuff.
Scran a red onion.
Exactly. Just let's just mash it up a little bit. Eat it.
Yeah.
You should.
And you think, I was going to eat a red onion. You know something? Cheese and onion sarnie. It's a raw onion.
True. Put a bit of bread on it.
Put a bit of bread on it. If you want the bread, then just have cheese and onion. But red onion is good for your testosterone.
Okay, I have a question. Now, I feel like this is something that people struggle with when they're trying to eat better, is what to have for breakfast.
Oh, we had that conversation last time. You went through like a whole meal deal, or a whole meal recipes of what it goes for in breakfast.
What do you have for breakfast?
I was just about to say, I'll share with you what I eat for breakfast.
Go on.
Almost every morning. And like I say, and this is a part of where a lot of people struggle. They want a variety, but I don't really care. I can eat the same thing all the time. I don't really care.
Yeah.
And I have 4 to 5 scrambled eggs that I scramble in coconut oil only every morning.
Okay.
So I scramble 4 to 5 eggs. I have a good serving of cottage cheese.
Okay.
I get an organic tomato. I chop it up.
Okay.
I sprinkle my Celtic salt on it.
Okay.
I sprinkle a little bit of olive oil on it.
Okay.
I get an avocado and I chop up half of an avocado.
Start making notes.
I'm making those.
And I get avocado and I slice my avocado. So I've got my eggs, my avocado, my cottage cheese, and I also have olives, black and green. Okay. And that breakfast there, when you see it on a plate, that's a lot of food. But it's as if it's playing tricks on you because it seems like a lot of food. But once I eat that, it's like Chinese food. In a couple of hours, I'm hungry again.
True.
Because it's light food that absorbs well and moves through your body well. It doesn't stay stagnant. It doesn't stay stuck anywhere.
True.
It goes in, it breaks down well, it does its job.
And it goes.
And it leaves.
That's it.
Leaves the building.
That's it.
And I have that almost every single morning.
Okay.
I don't do cereals.
No.
I don't do...
Like granola.
No,
Like that.
I used to. Don't get me wrong. I like granola every once in a while. I might have a bit of a granola, but it's not a regular part of...
occurrence.
No, I've always loved milk, but milk is not a regular, daily, weekly thing that I have. I love a bit of granola, but occasionally I have something like that, but very, very rare. Okay. Every day I eat eggs. Every day.
So what about when you're preparing lunch? So say, I don't know, you work Monday to Friday, whatever your work week looks like. What's in your lunchbox?
In my lunchbox, every day almost looks the same actually. I have a wrap, and in my wrap I put a nice thick layer of hummus in the bottom.
Okay. Oh.
And then I put wild rocket.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I put avocado. I like a bit of a kick, so put a bit of jalapeno.
Okay.
And that's because a little bit of spice is good for your immune system.
Of
It's very good for your
of
immune
course,
system.
you need it.
A bit of that. I grated some cheese.
Any particular cheese that you use, by the way? Do you use raw cheeses?
No, it's just like a regular
Just whatever cheese.
whatever cheese you like.
Okay.
Yeah. I grated some cheese and plenty of chicken, and I roll it up into a nice sized burrito. I have that. I have, and this is almost every day I go to work.
Okay.
I make this, and I make this before I go to work.
Okay.
I make this, not my wife makes it. I make this.
You make it.
Every day. Because it's my health, I don't put that into nobody else's responsibility. It's my
But your
responsibility.
own.
Well, wife, that's what they're there. They're supposed to make the...
Yeah, you know, it's great when they want to, but what happens when they're not in a good mood? Well, you're not going to eat? I've got to eat all the time.
No,
So I don't put that in nobody else's hands except mine. I have 2 bananas, and that's for one meal. And then my second meal is, I always have, yesterday I made some chicken mince with some kidney beans, a little bit of spicing, spice it up. So it's kind of like chili con carne kind of.
Okay.
And with rice, so I make a big pot of that.
Okay.
And then I portion it off in them little takeaway things, 6 of them, cool it down. So that's in the freezer. So every night I take one out.
And then you warm it up in the microwave, bish, bash, bosh, there you go.
Yeah.
So you can bulk cook on
Yeah.
the weekend, basically.
So I do that like once a week, and I repeat that process over and over and over. But in my lunchbox, I also have I've got a sweet tooth, so like a little bit of sweet, and I have some kind of little bit of chocolate or a little bit of cake, because it's Christmas time. A little bit of mince pie.
I don't like pie.
A nice quality mince pie. But like say, I like say, so and this is also a part of what I think is important. The idea of, Jebby, you exercise and you eat well. I can eat whatever I want to. Yeah? If I want to eat a burger, I'll eat a burger. If I want to eat a piece of cake, I'll eat a piece of cake. If I want to eat this, because I put the work in to get rid of it. So I don't stress about, I see everybody eating pizza, I can't have, I eat what I want to eat.
Yeah.
Because I know whatever those calories are, when I finish doing what I'm doing, them calories are gone.
Yeah.
So it's not something that's a burden in my mind. Oh, because if you're going to the gym and training, and it becomes a habit that, well, because I've trained and I can eat what I want to eat. When you went to the gym to train, what was your intensity level like? Many people show up.
Of course,
and
you see how
and they do a little something.
Little bit of a sweat.
While they're on their phone, they're doing a little something. That's not training.
No.
That's not training.
No.
Training is intensity.
True.
It's burn. Your muscles is burning. That's training. No. Hey, and how are you doing while you're doing your little thing? If you have energy to talk, your training level isn't high enough.
No, definitely.
If you're training high enough, you ain't got no energy to talk.
No.
Yeah? If you're training like that, don't overcomplicate it. You want to have a bit of cheesecake? Have a bit of cheesecake. Don't have it every day.
No.
But at least once a week on a weekend something, because that helps to keep you motivated, to keep you, something. Let's have a little bit of cheat. The body likes that. The taste buds like that. It's as if you're kind of a little rewarding of something.
Of course.
So I've always got a little bit of sweet something in my lunchbox. But my lunchbox looks the same all the time, because I'm at a point where I eat for fuel. I've got a diesel car outside. I don't put diesel in today and petrol tomorrow.
No.
I put diesel in there all the time. And my car don't complain.
No.
Because the diesel does the job.
Does what it needs.
It does what it needs.
No, definitely.
My body needs good protein, it needs good fibre, it needs good this, it needs good that. I could eat it every day, every other day. But most people are, this is a bit boring, I got to change it up a little. I want Chinese today, and I want Japanese tomorrow, and I want a bit of Mexican, and I want a bit of this, and I want a bit of that. And they're overthinking and they're overcomplicated. it. And by doing that, you go back to square one, where it's like, you can't maintain that.
You got to keep it simple.
Find something where you can maintain, and simplicity is how you maintain stuff.
Okay.
Keep it simple. Keep your eating simple.
No, true.
Because it's actually not complicated.
It
to
is
eat
not
well
complicated.
at all.
We make it complicated. It is not complicated.
You don't have to make some magical fancy risotto. You could literally have a steak, 3 scrambled eggs, an avocado, bash,
That's it.
cold water, and then if you really want to spice it up, some sliced mango on the side.
That's it. That's it. And you repeat that day in, day out, day in, day out, and with the intensity. Let me tell you something.
You'll be a unit.
Your body has no choice but to adapt to what you're doing.
No, of course.
But we want to make things all complicated and.
No, of course.
I do think though as well, with how society is built, we've got a bit of a comfort blanket. Whereas a lot of these gurus and these so-called, health fitness fanatics will be like, yeah, calorie count, do this, do that. No, I feel like more people coming out saying, scrap that, don't calorie count, just eat steak, eggs, avocado, chicken, veg, no fizzy drinks, no nothing. Do that, you'll get the results you want.
You know something, you hear a lot of people talk about intermittent fasting, don't eat before 12
Yeah,
o'clock.
I hear that a lot.
There are many ways of going about this.
Yeah.
That's why I say you've got to, me personally, I've eaten this way for the past 35, 36, 37 years. I eat 4 to 5 times a day, about every 3 hours.
Wow.
But when I eat small amounts. When you eat too large amounts, your body struggles to break all that down.
Sure.
But when you feed small amounts, it breaks it down, and you think, oh, it's only been 3 hours, I'm hungry again, because the body, the fuel you've given it, that fuel's been used. The petrol tank is empty.
And I thought, is it like a certain part of the day where the body's actually can break things down after it goes past a certain time? Then whatever you putting into your body just stays there until the next day comes for it to start.
And that's the habit most people have. They go to work.
True.
They're active throughout the day. And throughout the day, they eat little bits of things. And they come home from work when they're not active. And they sit around the table and have a big meal.
Okay.
And then they sit there. Your biggest meal of the day. This won't work for everybody, but this is how my thinking works. Your biggest meal of the day should be when you're going to be most active. So whatever that meal is, you work that off. In the evening time, when you're not doing anything, it should be a smaller meal. Because you're not doing anything.
Sure. No, I
because food is fuel for the body, like petrol is fuel for the car. So if you're not putting a lot of energy out, don't put a lot of energy in.
No.
When you're putting a lot of energy out, put more in so you can put more out. But people don't do it that way. They kind of, I don't like breakfast. I don't eat before 12 o'clock. And at 12 o'clock, I'll have a Mars bar and a cup of tea. And then around 3 or 4, I'll have a little bit of snack. But when I go home, the wife's got the table and the dessert and they sit there and watch EastEnders.
True.
That's the worst thing you can do. But most people do
But
that.
in the same time, like, is it something to do with the culture as well? Because obviously here, like, we have tea. Like, tea time is like usually in the evening, right? So that's usually the biggest meal, right?
But Bobby, look at it like
lunch.
this.
You usually get
It's a
something
bit snacky, it's like a sandwich.
Take a look in Britain at our health situation, and then look at the Spaniards, look at the Italians, and look at the French. They don't look like us because they eat differently. As they're eating, they're eating and they're drinking their wines and they're taking a break and they're eating. And I spent some time in Italy many, many years ago. And when Italians eat, and they have like a 7-8 course meal. But that 7-8 course meal is probably for 3 or 4 hours. Because just like we're sitting here talking, someone will bring us some food and we'll have a little something, some olives with a little something like that. And then we're talking and drinking a bit of wine. Half an hour later, they'll bring out a little something and the conversation goes, they bring something out. It's not like how we eat. We in the whole of Europe eat. Nobody else eats like that.
Wow.
Nobody else eats like that.
I actually didn't know that.
Everybody else eats and talks and drinks and talks and little bits. A good friend of mine sent me a picture a couple of weeks ago from Romania, and was saying, "Wow, look at this Romanian and breakfast. And it was only £5 or £6, blah blah blah." And it was similar to a British breakfast. It was cup of boiled eggs, cup of olives, and boiled eggs, olives, some tomatoes, and something else. And that was like their breakfast with a coffee. But we've got black pudding and beans and sausage and bacon and eggs and and toast. And the plate is like... Nobody eats like that. That's too much to be consuming at any one time.
Okay.
That's a part of the problem. This may not work for everybody, but it will work for most people. Eat small but regular. Look how the animals eat. They nibble. They're grazers.
True.
But we scoff our faces.
No, that's true.
And when we scoff our faces, our body goes like this.
No, definitely.
The Italians' body don't go like that because they don't eat like that. The French don't because they don't eat like that.
No.
We take after, because we're such close allies with the Americans, we follow what they do.
Yeah.
And what they do, like we're saying, and you've been to America and stuff, you go there and just go to McDonald's and say, and supersize everything. They come up with a drink this big.
Oh my god.
That's no joke.
Yeah.
No, true.
It's like, that's for like 3 people.
Yeah.
Not true. But this is why they have an obesity problem. Even in this country, we have an obesity
And because we copy their way of doing things, we've got that problem.
We're getting
Nobody else
Americanized.
copies what they're doing.
If you look
No,
around, we're a bit.
Don't you feel like the whole world is kind of going that trend? Because obviously all of these multinational companies are literally going elsewhere. This is the lifestyle. And I understand maybe it's to do with the culture, maybe other cultures are a bit more, because obviously in France you still see these people that are overweight. Yeah. But like you said, it's not
at that level.
It's not at that level.
Not at that level.
Same thing with like, I don't know, other countries as well. Like I'm from Africa, so in Africa if you're big, you must be wealthy.
You must.
Yeah. You must be doing very well. You must be doing very well to be able to eat that much as well. But obviously, there's also poor people that are also overweight as well.
See
Don't get
how
me wrong.
rich people or rich society can flip the switch.
Oh my god.
There was a time that you can look at somebody and think, he's got to be poor because he's skinny. He's got to be rich because, look at his full cheeks, full belly. You've got to have money to afford to eat like
Even
that.
here, even in the UK, back in the days.
Victorian England. Do you know when King Henry VIII, that massive if he was seen as a lord because of his size, he was massive, fat, and just he looked horrendous.
Okay.
But that's oh my god, he's rich because he can
rich.
afford food.
He can afford food.
And eat. So in Victorian England, the larger you were, the richer you were.
Okay.
But now it's been flipped, where you can look at somebody and look at the size of them and say, yeah, they're more the lower end of the economical scale because they can't afford to eat that kind of healthy type food.
Okay.
Rich people don't look like no £500-600 person.
Yeah.
Because they have access to personal trainers, they have access to
learned.
chefs, they have access to good food. They've learned these
They've
things.
learned,
but people who don't have a lot of money, it's like, you know, I can only afford to eat rubbish. You're saying that, but I'm telling you, if you go in the kitchen and put, I can't cook, then learn to really cook. Learn to cook.
And
it's a convenience thing that's causing the problem. People want to, McDonald's is just there, Kentucky Fried Chicken is just there, without knowing what are they consuming. It tastes good.
But even with the cooking, it's not complicated.
It's not complicated.
Because it's very
I
basic.
feel when it comes to the cooking, I feel like, because even I struggle cooking sometimes, but I feel like it's to do with the time. It's having the time to do it. And I understand, and I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. I understand certain arguments where people say, you know what, they have children at home, they have to work so many hours, right? So they're having to go to work in the morning and probably having to work at night as well because they're having to pay for a home and raising children as well. So it becomes a bit hard. It's easy for them to just say, you know what, there's a pizza. Yeah. And obviously you're teaching that to your children as well. That's why I even asked you earlier in terms of like, when can we start teaching, or at least, I don't know, promoting a good lifestyle to our children in a certain way. Because obviously at school they do PE and all these other things. But, and this is, I feel like something I probably learned the longer I stayed in the UK, because I feel like back at home we didn't really see that as much. Like, I don't know, you don't see a lot of children that are overweight. Here at a certain age, you see kids that are already overweight. It's like, mate, you go into school, right? So you I'm sure you're doing PE, you're doing some type of activity, right? But why are you that way? Is the PE teacher also not looking at him and be like, oh, okay, you need to run more miles, you need to run more, what's going on? More.
Kids are influenced easy though, aren't they? They go off what the parents teach them.
I get that, but I feel like as a teacher or even as a PE teacher, is it not your responsibility to also kind of like make sure you push that child to...
Bobby, people can come up with 1,000,001 different excuses, mate. 1,000,001 different excuses. I'm a father. I've always worked. I came from a household where my mother was a nurse and she worked night shift so she can be home for the kids. She worked 7 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. She would get home and she'd get in bed between 8:30 and 9 o'clock and she would be up by 2:30. Because we're coming home from school finished at 3:30, we get home by 4 o'clock. My mother cooked a fresh meal every single day except Fridays. Fridays was fish and chips day. You can have fish and chips on a Friday. Yeah? And she's tired. As a nurse, 12-hour shift, she's tired.
Of course.
But she's going to make sure her children eat well. All these parents, anybody can go, well, you know, I don't have time. You got time for your phone, you got time for your TV, you got time for... The time is there. You just got to have time management. People's not managing their time correctly. But the time is there. The time is there. So this excuse, that excuse... There you will come across a few people that's got exceptional circumstances where maybe they don't have it. Maybe they have certain disabilities or certain things why they can't do that. But most people, don't come tell me about you ain't got no time. You got time. And if you ain't got time, tell me about your day. What time do you go to bed? What time do you wake up? How many hours do you work? What time do you get home? Blah, blah, blah. And I bet you, and I can look at that and find you some time.
Not true.
Well, I'm tired. Yeah, you're tired because you're out of shape. If you're in shape, you'd have energy.
Not true.
So however you want to look at it, whatever excuse you want to come up with, you can come up with it.
No, definitely.
And these excuses, you know, it's comforting. It makes you feel good to keep making those excuses. Then this is a bit harsh. This is a bit harsh. But there are some people in the world that are just filled with complaints. They're out of shape. They don't want to clean themselves. They carry themselves in a negative way. And anything you say to them in a positive way to try and change the situation, they will come up with 10 different reasons why they can't do that. Let them be. Let them be. They're draining your energy. They're wasting time. Just let them be that. And those who you could inspire or be around and kind of say, you know, what about this? And, you know, if you wake up at 30 minutes before, you can do a bit of lunch. And these conversations I have weekly with people. How do you find time to make your lunch? Well, I'll show you. I'll make time for you. You can't make it for yourself. What time do you go to bed? No. And how much Xbox do you play? How much this do you do? How much that do you do? How much that do you do? Within your 24 hours. I can find an hour for you to train 4 times a week. 4 hours a week. Don't tell me you ain't got time.
No, of course.
It's priorities.
Don't tell
as
me
well,
you
isn't
don't
it?
have
It's
time. It's priorities.
So it's like...
And do you think... Oh, sorry.
No,
to stop you. Do you think it's also to do with the culture thing? Because I feel like, for example, like... even if you're young black men as well, like you don't see a lot of them in the gym like that. I don't know what's going on. You see like something like women as well. Like women are starting to go more to the gym now, which is great. You know where I'm coming from. But at the same time, like when it comes to like young black men, you see them doing other sports. I understand. Yeah. But when it comes to the gym and actually making sure you push yourself and you keep yourself.
I might be wrong with this,
but
I sometimes think black men in particular, because we've got a certain genetics about us. Yeah? Oh yeah, they're fit and they respond well to certain things, as if I don't need to go to the gym.
Oh,
everybody needs to go to the gym.
It's like an ego thing then, basically.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an ego thing. It's like, you know, something, yeah, you hear people say all the time, black people's got good genetics, and maybe there's some truth to that.
Okay.
And because of that truth for that, it plays, well, why do I need to go to the gym? Why do I need to? Everybody needs to. Regardless of your age, everybody needs to.
Sure. Well, because you get to a certain point where
it
becomes harder, like you said, it becomes harder for you to be able to maintain those.
But I'm also seeing, the same way I've seen the change in the women coming into the weights, I'm seeing change in black women and black men. I've always seen a lot of black men in the gym, but a lot of black women. Okay. I'm starting to see that change, and a part of what I think, I could be wrong here, and maybe your viewers can help me with this.
Of course.
A part of it is that I see, at any country I've gone to, and I've gone to many countries in the world, you will see white women in the gym training and doing their thing. And I think it's one thing where black women are kind of starting to realize that, you know something, we better get on with this here now, and because we're getting left behind here.
Of course.
We're getting left behind here. So I'm seeing a lot more black women in the gym, a lot more black men in the gym, a lot more young people in the gym, a lot more females in general lifting weights, because people are starting to understand, get this thing out of your head about.
No, of course.
It's for that group, or it's for that group, or it's for this. It's for everybody.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because how the body moves and how the body functions, and we all need it. As we get older, our bones decreases.
No, of course.
The only way to get your bone density to keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger is resistance training.
No, definitely. No, go on. Go on.
And as people get older, one of the main things, cause of death in the elderly, is falling, breaking a bone. Why do they break bones? Brittle bone. Because they don't lift weights. And as they get older, their bones get weaker. As they fall, they don't have no strength, no muscle mass, no.
It just breaks.
And once they break a bone, it triggers other ailments within their body. Next minute, passed away.
No, I get that. No, definitely. I feel like, do you think it's similar when it comes to also meditation and yoga, for example? Because I remember like people also tend to see that as more to do with like either maybe an Eastern thing, culture thing, or a female thing. Similar like cardio, you see more women doing cardio. So when it comes to yoga, men, you try to get them to come and do yoga, they'll be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. I'm not going to meditate. I'm not going to do that or whatsoever. They'll go to the gym and exercise and lift all the weights, but to go and sit there for a bit, that'll become like another thing altogether.
See, meditation, I completely get it. Like, I get why people do it, but I've tried it and I really struggle to sit and get into that zone and that mindset of being able to sort of almost channel yourself into a different sort of thought process, or I just don't, the dots don't connect with me when it comes to meditation. Not that I don't agree with it, I know it's good for you and I know it has its many, many benefits. I just don't feel like I'm capable of it. What is your response to that?
My response is this. Meditation is when your mind is focused on washing the dishes, and there's nothing else on your mind but washing the dishes. You're going through that motion. You're in the midst of meditation. When a man and a woman comes together and they're making love and they're looking each other in the eye and there's nothing else they're thinking about but what's taking place, they're in love-making meditation. Okay. When you're having a conversation with somebody and I'm not thinking about, when is this going to end, and later I've got to go do something. Meditation isn't about, and this is where people get it wrong, sitting there and om. That's a part of meditation, of course. But you do that to learn some techniques so you can take it into your life. When you're walking, you walk with consciousness. You're meditating. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Like when you're washing your body and there's nothing else in your mind but what you're doing, you're in the process of meditating because your mind is single pointed. When your mind is all over the place, you're not meditating.
No.
Especially when your mind's all over the place and you're attached to all these thoughts that's in your mind. A part of the technique of meditation is when you close your eyes, as soon as you close your eyes, many thoughts come to the mind. And what happens is, I have a thought of, cheesecake. So you start to think, I become attached to that thought. It's the Arsenal match later. I start to become attached to that. When thoughts come to your mind, view it like a movie. You're sat here, a scene comes on, the scene goes. You have no attachment to that scene. Mm-hmm. No. Another scene comes on and that scene goes. You have no attachment to that scene. No. It's the attachment that you place upon something that causes the mind to have this.
Oh, okay.
When you start to be conscious of the mind, and things come and things go without the attachment.
No, true.
When you're talking to your best mate and you're there with your best mate, you're in the here and the now, not yesterday, not planning for tomorrow, not planning for the next 5 minutes, you're present right there, you're meditating. Mm. When you're walking out in nature and you're connected to nature, that's all you're connected to, you're meditating.
So it's like a focus, it's like a clear pathway.
It's when you bring your mind to a point where whatever you're doing, that's what you're doing. There's nothing else in your mind. I don't mean that there's other things in your mind, but there's no attachment to whatever is in your mind. Whatever you're doing at that moment, that's where your consciousness is. That's what
is it a form of concentration then?
It can be, but it's not concentration. No. Okay. No. It's training your mind not to be attached to what comes in and out of your mind. Okay. Let it come, let it go, let it come, let it go. And as opposed to, that's a nice thought, and maybe I'll do that later. Maybe. No. This is where the stress is, the anxiety is, the worries. If there's a war, what are we going to do? I've got to go get extra toilet paper.
I bet you laughed when COVID hit and everyone got all the eggs and all the toilet paper.
Yeah, and last you know, throughout the whole of COVID, I was just sailing through COVID. COVID affected me zero. I had good friends that I thought was close to suicidal. COVID had zero effect on me.
What did you do throughout COVID?
At the time, actually, in COVID, I worked in care.
Okay.
So I had to go to work.
Right.
Yeah. And Boris says you can do your hour walk. So every day, me and my wife went for hours, brisk hours walk. I converted my garage into a gym. I did a bit of training every day. So it didn't affect me at all. And I'm a homebody anyway, so I'm home with the wife and the girls and stuff. And it didn't affect me at all. At all, it didn't affect me. We didn't have a positive, a negative. Yeah, you couldn't go out, but once I go to work and go to gym and come home, I don't go out anymore. So it's not as if, I gotta go to the pub. I don't go to pubs. No. I don't.
No.
So it just didn't affect me. But I could see how it affected a lot of people. A lot of people. It just didn't have that kind of hold on me because of my mindset. No. And how I choose to go about living my life. Yeah.
Okay. What about, a lot of people say to read books. Books are a forefront of knowledge, and they unlock parts of your brain, and they do this, that and the other, and they have many benefits for your brain functioning. Do you read books? Do you think that they are beneficial? Do you think you have to read books in order to be successful in A, B and C?
I think the reading of books is essential, but a part of the reason why I read books, and to answer your question, yes, I do read books, and a part of the reason why I read books is because the brain is a muscle. I've got to exercise the muscle.
Of course.
Right.
It's not just the bicep.
No.
I've got to exercise that muscle.
100%.
And as you get older, you understand the importance of exercising that muscle and connecting with the young people, getting fresh ideas. Not just sticking amongst 50, 60, 70-year-olds.
No.
Listen to because you can learn from the young people, and the young people can learn from you. So people say, yeah, these billionaires read 20 books a day. Yeah, they can read 100 books a day. Great. It's important to read books, but I read books to exercise my brain muscle.
Okay.
That's why I do it.
Are you a storybook man, or you're an information book man?
And I like biographies.
What are you reading at the minute?
Well, I mean, I'm not reading a biography, and I'm reading. I'm halfway through a Jack Reacher book, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And I've read a few of the Jack Reacher books, but I like biographies because I guess it's something about my Aquarian nature. I like honesty. I like truth. I like stories, people's stories. I like sharing my story. I like to hear other people's story. I like to meet people and have a change of share with me. I'll share with you. And so I like say I like honesty. I like truth. Sometimes a bit too honest. I'm a bit too forthright, but it's just. I tend not to hold too much stuff on my chest. I let it build and build and build and make it go boom. I trickle it out, because when you hold things internally, you're planting that negative seed that you're constantly feeding with. Oh, wow, I'm worried about this, I'm stressed about that, and the kids this, and the wife this, and the husband this, and that's where disease starts.
You can die from stress.
Yeah, stress is one of the biggest causes of death.
It triggers many things in the body, in the mind, in the psyche, many things. So knowing this, I don't. I don't know. I'm not fearful, because why do I need to be fearful? Once you're born, you're guaranteed one thing and one thing only. You're not guaranteed that you're going to be fed. You're not guaranteed that someone's going to love you. You're not guaranteed that you're going to be rich, that you're going to get married, that you're going to have kids. The only thing you're guaranteed is death. From the moment you're born, that's the only thing you're guaranteed. Nothing else. Nothing else. So between that point and that point, try and live the best you can. And it's going to be different for you're going to be different for everybody else. But knowing that is an equalizer. Everybody that had this birth has to have this, regardless of
The status.
$300 billion worth. It doesn't matter. You too
You're
will.
going to be dead in a box.
No, of
Everybody.
course.
So in knowing that, it lets you know that we are all one and the same. So all this stress and worry and, well, it's easy for you to say. No, it's not easy for me to say. I've been working on it for many years. Start working on it. But the stress, the worry, the fear, the anxiety, if all of those things were tools to help you to get better, to feel better, to be more materialistic if that's what you want, if those was going to help you, by all means do it. But they don't.
No, they don't.
And because they don't, what's that telling you? Don't do it as best you can. And how do I do that? Read books, trying to figure out, exercise, eat well, and all these things. Be conscious about your thoughts. Be conscious about your words. Be a conscious person. And all of these are steps towards getting rid of fear, getting rid of anxiety, getting rid of... It's not that simplistic, but you have to start somewhere.
No, definitely.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Make big changes.
Yeah, yeah.
On that note, we're going to end it there. And I hope you guys take something from this as well. We're going to have more of these type of episodes as well. To be able to
Very
see if we
informative,
can,
actually, for myself.
we can give something back as well to the community. And we can learn something. I feel like I learned quite a lot. And but for you to be able to get more of these kind of content, please just remember to hit the notification bell and also subscribe as well to know exactly when we're dropping these videos as well. But thank you again today for coming as well, guys.
Pleasure.
And see you guys later as well.